Have you ever noticed how crabs and shrimps go into the pot looking grayish, bluish, or even slightly transparent, and come out looking bright orange, almost like they've been painted with sunset colors? It's one of those small kitchen mysteries that most of us just accept without really thinking about. You toss shrimp into boiling water, and within seconds, boom, they transform into a completely different color. No dyes, no seasoning yet, just heat doing its thing. But behind that simple change is a fascinating mix of chemistry, biology, and evolution that has been quietly happening for millions of years. Today, we're diving into the colorful science behind seafood transformations, right here on History of Simple Things. Let's start with what crabs and shrimps actually look like before cooking. If you've ever seen live shrimp or crab at a wet market or near the ocean, you'll notice they don't naturally look bright orange. Many shrimp are gray, bluish, or even slightly see-through. Crabs can be greenish, brownish, or muddy in color. These colors help them blend into their surroundings: sand, rocks, seaweed, and muddy ocean floors. In the wild, looking bright orange would be like wearing a neon jacket in the middle of a forest. Very noticeable and very dangerous. Camouflage is survival. So if they aren't naturally orange, where does that orange color come from? The secret lies in a pigment called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin is a naturally occurring pigment that belongs to a group called carotenoids. These are the same family of pigments that make carrots orange, pumpkins bright, and flamingos pink. Astaxanthin is actually responsible for the orange-red color you see in cooked shrimp and crab. But here's the twist: the pigment is already inside the animal before cooking. It just doesn't look orange yet. That sounds confusing, but here's what's happening. Inside the shells of shrimp and crabs, astaxanthin is usually hidden or masked by special proteins. When astaxanthin attaches to these proteins, its color changes. Instead of looking orange, it may appear bluish, grayish, greenish, or even dull brown. The protein acts almost like a color filter, changing how light reflects from the pigment. So even though the orange pigment is there, it's being disguised. Think of it like placing a colored sheet of plastic over an orange light. The light underneath is still orange, but what you see on the outside might be blue or green depending on the filter. In shrimp and crabs, the proteins act as that filter. Now comes the cooking part. The real magic moment. When you cook shrimp or crabs, you apply heat. That heat doesn't just cook the meat, it also changes the structure of the proteins attached to astaxanthin. Proteins are delicate structures made up of chains of amino acids folded into precise shapes. When heated, these structures start to break apart in a process called denaturation. It's the same reason egg whites turn solid and white when cooked. As the proteins in shrimp and crab shells denature, they lose their shape and release the astaxanthin pigment. Once freed from the protein that was masking it, the pigment returns to its natural color, bright orange-red, and that's why within seconds of cooking, the shell suddenly changes color. So technically, shrimp and crabs don't become orange when cooked. They were carrying orange pigment all along. Cooking simply reveals what was already there. But where does astaxanthin come from in the first place? Interestingly, shrimp and crabs don't produce astaxanthin themselves from scratch. They get it from their diet. Tiny algae in the ocean produce carotenoid pigments, including astaxanthin. Small animals like plankton eat the algae, and then shrimp, crabs, and other crustaceans eat those plankton. Over time, the pigment builds up inside their bodies. This same food chain effect explains why flamingos are pink. Flamingos eat shrimp and algae rich in carotenoids, and those pigments accumulate in their feathers. Without those pigments in their diet, flamingos would actually appear pale or grayish instead of pink. Back in the ocean, astaxanthin doesn't just affect color. It also plays an important role in protecting marine animals. Carotenoids like astaxanthin act as antioxidants, helping protect cells from damage caused by sunlight and oxygen. Since many crustaceans live in shallow waters exposed to sunlight, this protection can be very useful. Now, let's talk about something you may have noticed. Shrimp don't just turn orange, they turn opaque too. Before cooking, shrimp often look slightly translucent or glassy. After cooking, they become firm and opaque white with orange edges. That change also comes from proteins reacting to heat. The flesh of shrimp is made mostly of proteins that are arranged in a way that lets light pass through. When heated, those proteins tighten and clump together, scattering light instead of letting it pass through. That scattering makes the shrimp look solid and white. So, during cooking, two major things happen at once. Proteins change shape, making the flesh opaque, and pigments are released, making the shell orange. It's like watching two different chemical reactions happen at the same time, one affecting texture, the other affecting color. Even today, this transformation continues to amaze people who cook seafood for the first time. It's one of the fastest visible changes you can watch in cooking. Drop raw shrimp into boiling water, and in less than a minute, you witness chemistry, biology, and heat working together in perfect timing. And perhaps that's what makes this small kitchen phenomenon so fascinating. It reminds us that even ordinary cooking is filled with scientific reactions happening right before our eyes. A simple pot of boiling shrimp isn't just dinner being prepared. It's a demonstration of protein chemistry, pigment biology, and evolutionary design all at once. So the next time you cook shrimp or crab and watch them shift from dull gray to bright orange, you'll know exactly what's happening beneath the surface. The heat is breaking apart proteins, freeing hidden pigments, and revealing colors that were always there, waiting to shine. Because sometimes the most interesting science isn't found in laboratories or textbooks. It's sitting quietly in your kitchen, bubbling away in a pot of boiling water. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.